Hello, good morning and welcome to That's Football, the start of another week, the end of the domestic Premier League and FA Cup season in England, and the transfer window is well and truly open. We're going to start off talking about Paul Pogba and the uncertainty I think that Manchester United fans are feeling around now. I mean, obviously this is That's Football. I'm wearing blue. I'm not wearing it because of Chelsea. I like this top, but Chelsea, FA Cup winners, Manchester City, Premier League winners, Liverpool potential Champions League winners, Arsenal rebuild in the summer. Where does that leave Manchester United? And rumours of dressing room unrest, rumours of players intentionally not playing well for Mourinho. We know that the club are going to back Jose Mourinho. They're going to stand by him. So what does that mean for Manchester United in this summer? And who are the players that could go? It's well documented that Darmians, your Blins, even your Martials and Shaws may go. But what about your Paul Pogbas? Again, Paul Pogba, his message at the weekend was thanks for the support of the fans, which you can read at the end of the season as fine, or you could go a little bit bigger. He's then been asked about transfers again and said, look, as far as I know, I'll be a United player next season. But there is a feeling, there is a lot of rumour around Manchester United, and there always is going to be a lot of rumour around Manchester United, but there is also a feeling that big things are going to happen this summer. And I think a lot of Manchester United fans that I talk to just feel very, very, very concerned. And Arsenal fans are probably excited. Chelsea, no Champions League football, but Conte could go. New manager, Abramovich likes to spend money. Man City, Premier League winners, they're going to spend a bit of money. Liverpool will spend money, and I think even Liverpool fans obviously desperate to win on Saturday night. I will be doing that watch along for my sins, so that's going to be an interesting watch. But desperate to win that. But I think Liverpool fans, even if they don't win it, they'll still take massive positives from their season. So Manchester United's in the most interesting position of all, really the most interesting position of all, because they're going to retain the manager who, after 2 years, has no formation, no style of play, and is, quite frankly, boring a lot of fans. He's also disrupted a lot of players. Most United fans you speak to will say he's not actually improved any of our players, and our attackers, he's actually making them worse. So yeah, the club can go and spend a load of money, but there's not a lot of appetite from the fans or excitement for that money to be spent, because we've spent a lot of money on Sanchez. He's been dreadful. We've spent a lot of money on Pogba. He's been very inconsistent. We've got Martial. We've got Rashford. They're going backwards. You know, there's a lot of problems with Manchester United's attack that I think fans are quite clever, aren't they? And they feel that money won't necessarily solve it. So a very, 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 very interesting summer ahead for Manchester United. The club will back him, but backing Mourinho may actually irritate fans even more if it means fan favourites going. That, look, if Paul Pogba, Martial, Luke Shaw aren't performing for Jose Mourinho, then Mourinho's got every right to get rid of them. That is absolutely fine. But I think the problem is that some fans feel that if they've got rid of Mourinho and kept those three players and brought a different manager in, those players would perform more like Manchester United should be performing than what Mourinho's going to deliver. And that's the dilemma many Manchester United fans have at the moment. Pogba needs to stay, just like Martial, says Masood. Overachieving is winning the double, says John Saunders. He's overachieved with average players, 100%, says Roy Keane. It's for you to decide, isn't it? I've been a Manchester United fan for over 3 decades, and I think this is some of the worst football I've ever seen. So if that's overachieving, then you can take it, really. I think he's underachieved, realistically, with a lot of those players. A lot of those attacking players aren't playing anywhere near their potential, and that's got to come down on the coaching staff. I think second place is good, but I think second place, if you're someone like Chelsea, you must be very, very irritated this Monday morning, because yes, you've won the FA Cup, but you look at that Manchester United team and you know you're no worse than they are, yet they've finished second comfortably and you've struggled to finish fifth. Spurs and Liverpool will look at it the same, but the gap between second and fifth and sixth, well, sixth is a long way, but the gap between second and fifth is nothing like the gulf between second and first, which looks like it's going to get bigger. Eden Hazard, funnily, asked after the game if he was going to stay, came out with the funny line, well, if Rudiger plays like that every week, I'll stay. I don't think Eden Hazard is going to stay, simply because he's given a lot of years to Chelsea. I think he's 27 now. He's got no Champions League football next season. There's links with Manchester City, but I don't see Manchester City being that the right club for him. I don't think Chelsea will allow that to happen. Real Madrid, you know what? I'm going to be very honest about Eden Hazard. I don't really rate him that much, and I can hear the boos coming now. I'd be interested to know what Chelsea fans think about it, because I think he's very hit and miss. I think he can have a fantastic season and he can have a bad season. He can have a really good game and he can have a bad game. And that, to me, is the difference between top class and being world class. And I don't think Eden Hazard is world class. I think he's shown world class ability, but the consistency isn't there. And that's where the world class players come from. So I think Real Madrid would probably be making a mistake making Eden Hazard. Having said that, Eden Hazard could go to Real Madrid and be fantastic because, with all honesty, I love Ronaldo, but he only has to play about 15 games a season because a majority of that La Liga season is a walk in the park. It really is. Anyway, we are building more towards that Champions League final, but I just want to give a shout out to this actually. I was going to be doing it on my channel at 12:30, but brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I couldn't find the full match anywhere. MUTV, 7:30 tonight, are showing the Champions League final from 2008 between Manchester United and Chelsea. So we're doing a watch-along for that at 7:30 tonight. It's going to be on my channel, the Goldbridge live stream channel. The link is in the video description for that, so make sure you click it. The stream's already up if you want to get involved in the chat build up for that, but it will be at 7:30 tonight, so subscribe, link in the video description for that. Really looking forward to it. Was going to do it without it being on MUTV, we're just going to do it, but the fact that lots of people can watch that game as well, really looking forward to that. 10 years today. Let's have a look at some other transfer news. Chelsea manager Antonio Conte is set to leave the club in the next 48 hours, with former Barcelona coach Luis Enrique being lined up to replace him. That's been reported in the Express. That would be a positive move for Chelsea. I think Conte in that first year was brilliant, very enthusiastic. He's lost that enthusiasm. I think he needs to go. And if Chelsea want to keep Willian, they need to get rid of Conte because, as you saw with his Instagram post, blocking Conte out with cups is a big sign that he needs to go. Obviously, Manchester United might well be in for Willian, but I don't know. Again, I think it's short-termism. I'd be very concerned about a Willian signing. But Mourinho is a massive fan of his, so we'll see. But Chelsea, one thing Chelsea have always been very good at since the sort of rebuild of Chelsea with the Abramovich money is that they're very good in the transfer window, and they're very good with managers. They change them very quickly, but they're very decisive and they get things done, and maybe that could be something else. They are also linked to Napoli manager Sarri, although there is talk that it might have broken down a little bit there. And former PSG coach Unai Emery has emerged as a shock last-minute candidate to take over as the Arsenal manager. To all our Arsenal viewers out there, I don't get why Arteta's getting so much trouble. I really don't. As a Manchester United fan, I look at what we've done, going for Moyes, going for Van Gaal, going for Mourinho, and ultimately, none of them have really done that great. I do start to wonder, what if we had just gone for Giggs and Scholes or Neville or someone like that? What if we'd gone for that set of players who know how United should play, who know what the club's about? Of course, it's a big risk, but would it be any worse than the last 5 years we've had? I would say that. And also, they probably should have got it when Sir Alex Ferguson went. Antoine Griezmann, heavily linked with Barcelona, and looks like he will be going there. Whether it will be announced before the World Cup or not, I don't know. Toby Alderweireld, obviously I think he will leave Spurs. A lot of people mentioning Manchester United about him. I said on the United stand last week, I really feel that's about pumping his value up. I don't see him coming to United. And if he does, he's another player touching 30. West Ham are going to get Manuel Pellegrino as their manager. Former Manchester City manager, won the title with them. I mean, I just think whoever goes to West Ham has got a very difficult job for them. And Manchester United and Talisca was a story going around yesterday. There are talks now that Liverpool might be further advanced than Manchester United because Liverpool's website has actually reported on it. So be interested to see what happened with that. Jose Mourinho deleted his Instagram account over the weekend apparently because of trolling from the FA Cup. However, it's come out that actually he deleted it on Thursday and it was nothing to do with trolling. I do feel a bit sorry for Jose Mourinho. I think he'll be feeling quite depressed today because Di Marzio last night saying that Fellaini will leave Manchester United and is expected to sign a 3-year contract at AC Milan. How embarrassing is that for Jose Mourinho? He's spent all season publicly trashing fan favourites like Martial, and then he's publicly backed Fellaini, and then you do that, and then that player says, "No, I ain't staying. Off you go." I mean, it's really humiliating, some of the things that are going on at the moment, and that's what I mean. Going back to what I said at the start, it's a very interesting summer ahead for Manchester United fans, and it may be good. and it may be bad. We just don't know. Clash Wars says Pogba's going to go to PSG. I did hear something that Pogba will be going to PSG and United will let him go if there's a big money offer. Pogba's meant to be one of those players that Mourinho's very unhappy with, that they feel they're not getting the best out of him, that there's rumours that he's one of those players who's intentionally not performing for Mourinho. I'll go back to what I said at the start. It's going to be a choice, isn't it? The board are going to back Mourinho, but is it right to get rid of players who are around 22 and 25 who could perform under a more attacking manager to stick with a manager that's not really delivered over the last 2 years in relation to the playing identity of Manchester United? It's an interesting one, and it's one we're going to pick up on the United stand a little bit later. I am going to be doing FIFA later at 1 o'clock on my channel again, Goldbridge live stream. If you like the FIFA career mode, which I have been doing on there, again, the link is in the video description for that. That and the watch along tonight will both be on my channel, so get yourself subscribed for that. Lots of content on there over the summer as well. And let's have a look what people are saying. I back United all season, but not Jose. Sorry guys, says Wesley. Perhaps Jose could go back to Chelsea, says Sally Devil Red 7. It's interesting, and I don't think it would ever happen. Jack Mannion says send Willian to United, and I would shift Pogba on. Fair enough, the system doesn't suit him, but he should be doing so much more. I think that's a fair comment from Grant Walker. I mean, Pogba should be doing much more. He is very inconsistent. On his day, he's fantastic. But we've had too many off days, especially against the lesser teams. Paul Pogba against your West Brom should be absolutely running the game, and he doesn't. And Pogdan says, I feel that Jose Mourinho is more and more detached from the realities of the club and the modern football world. Interesting. And Turian says, you're coming off a bit delirious, Mark. I don't know what you're on about, mate. I'd like another clarification on that. I am suffering with a bit of a cold, so that might be a voice thing. Are you Jose out, Pankaj? No, I'm not. I mean, I would say that if I was. I'm not. I personally don't think Chelsea should be getting rid of Conte. I think Arsenal were right to get rid of Wenger. And I think Manchester United are definitely going to keep Jose Mourinho for another year. I just think it's a very interesting dynamic with Mourinho that if this clear-eye happens and you get rid of players that United have always been about, young, talented players that need developing, for older players, I think that is really, really worrying. Really worrying indeed. Thanks for that, Clash Wars. And I see Manchester United to approach Willian on Sky Sports. What I'd say about Sky Sports is, and I've said this for 2 years now, they've not been very good for quite a while. Just because Sky Sports say something doesn't mean it's gospel. There's far better sources out there. I mean, watch the United stand transfer daily, obviously, if you're interested in United. We spoke about Willian last week, and there is a possibility United will sign Willian, but it won't be because Sky Sports say so. I think Sky Sports lost it for me about 2, maybe 3 years ago when they said Gundogan to Manchester United was a done deal, and then he went and signed for City. They're not as good as they used to be. Very, very good. Now, a lot of what Sky Sports do, rumoured to be linked to what Sky Bet do. So they're sort of pulling people in with that. And I'm not a massive fan of Sky Sports in relation to transfer news now. It's good when it's official, but not for rumours. I don't rate them much at all. What if United get Talisca and Fred? Do you think that's a good window? Says Dr. Payne. It's an improvement in the midfield area. It's an improvement. I think they've got to get Milinkovic-Savic. I think Milinkovic-Savic, and I'm happy to talk about Milinkovic-Savic on That's Football because I'm not necessarily 100% sure he's coming to Manchester United. He's a fantastic player. Lazio missed out on the Champions League yesterday in an epic game against Inter Milan. It was basically Inter Milan needed to win to leapfrog Lazio right on the last day, which they did. But Milinkovic-Savic has been fantastic for Lazio this season, absolutely fantastic. And you know, I remember watching Lazio play Juventus, and Dybala scored right at the end. Undeservedly, that would have been the 1 point that Lazio needed for Champions League football. And I think Milinkovic-Savic will go to the World Cup, maybe have a little bit of a chat with Matic, and that chat will be, look, you're a fantastic player. You need to now go to a better club because you can't carry teams like Lazio when you're a talent like you are. You need to go to a bigger club, be a slightly smaller fish in a bigger pond, and learn from those bigger players and put yourself on that platform. So I think Milinkovic-Savic will leave Lazio, but I think he's had such a good season that it's not necessarily that he's going to come to Manchester United. He might look at what's going on at United and go, well, I don't know whether that's good for me development-wise. Look at what he's done with Martial. Look at what he's done with Pogba. I think I'll go elsewhere. And he might go Madrid. He might go PSG. He could. So Milinkovic-Savic, I think, will move on. I just don't think it will necessarily be an easy win for Manchester United. But he is the player that they should be going for, and I'll be very, very disappointed if we don't get him. Luke Pender says Milinkovic-Savic was superb last night. If we sign any midfielder than him, we are not signing the best. And I think that's pretty much spot on where I am, Luke. People can say Talisca and Fred, and they're good signings, but they could flop. They're coming from leagues which are nothing like the Premier League, inferior to the Premier League, and Serie A is not as good as the Premier League, but Milinkovic-Savic is arguably the best midfielder in the world at the moment for the season he's had, and that's what United should be buying, not people that other. I've been saying this for quite a while, and I think Chelsea need to look at this the same, and Arsenal if they can, although they probably don't have the budget. But realistically, if you want to get near City and you want to be in the top 4 every year, you've got to be going for players that the top clubs want, whether that's City, whether that's Real Madrid, Barcelona. You've got to be going for the best, and Talisca is a player that Everton want. Is that what United or Liverpool should be going for? I think they need to be going for better than that. Anyway, Alexandro, I agree with Pankaj. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a United player very, 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 very soon. I think there'll be a United player in and out this season. Anyway, we're going to beat 2 United, aren't we? Chelsea are going to have a very interesting summer. Arsenal are going to have a very interesting summer. Liverpool will. I think Spurs keep, dark horses, maybe Spurs, but very interesting, especially with the World Cup as well, which we'll be covering every single game for the World Cup. Watch along on That's Football. It's a very exciting summer to come. Sanders obviously doing the transfer shows on here at 7:30 at night as well. Lots of live content for you to get involved. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, drop a like, get involved. I'm live here on every day at midday, and obviously we've got the watch alongs on Saturday for the playoff final, then the Champions League final. So big games on that. And if you're interested in the Champions League, live tonight on my channel at 7:30, watch along, Champions League final 2008. It's 10 years today, Manchester United versus Chelsea. You're going to really enjoy watching Manchester United play some good football for a couple of hours. So link in the video description for that. I'll see you all later.